Love you all, everybody. The House will come to order. The Pledge of Allegiance will be offered by Ellen Colpitts, Miss Loveland Valentine, Thompson Valley High School, Loveland, Colorado.
Thank you for allowing me to be here, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Kohler, please call the roll.
Representatives Arndt, Becker J, Becker K, Brown, Buck, Buckner, Carver, Conti, Corum, Court, Danielson, Del Grosso, Dorr, Representative Dorr, Duran, Esgar, Everett, Fields, Foote, Garnett, Janal, Hamner, Humphrey, Joshi, Kagan, Kaiser, Klingenschmidt, Kraft-Tharp, Landgraf, Lawrence, Lebsock, Lee, Lontine, Lundin, McCann, Melton, Representative Melton, Mitch Bush, Moreno, Navarro, Neville, Nordberg, Pabon, Pedersen. Primavera. Representative Primavera. Oh, I got you. Sorry. Priola. Rankin. Ransom. Rosenthal. Rupe. Ryden. Sane. Salazar. Sias. Singer. Tate. Thurlow. Tyler. Van Winkle. Vigil. Willett. Williams. Wilson. Winholz. Winter. Young. Speaker Ferrandino. Speaker Hollinghurst. Sorry, reflex. 65 present. I don't think she's there.
With 65 present, a quorum is present. Representative Garnett.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the reading of the Journal of Friday, February 6th, be dispensed with and that it be approved as corrected by the Chief Clerk.
You have heard the motion that the journal be adopted as corrected by the chief clerk. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say no. Motion passes. Announcements and introductions. Mr. Minority Leader. And Representative Buck.
Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Hey, members, listen up. One of the great things we get to do every year as representatives of Loveland is we get the opportunity and the privilege to introduce Miss Loveland Valentine. For more than 50 years, Miss Valentine has been traveling from Loveland down to the Capitol to meet with the governor and then also to be introduced in both chambers of the legislature.
And members, I ask you to come to the beautiful city of Loveland because if you notice, all the street poles have wonderful Valentine notes and you can truly feel that love is in the air. Miss Loveland Valentine is Loveland's official spokesperson and she makes presentations throughout the community, including television, newspaper, and radio interviews. Miss Valentine is selected after going through a series of interviews, speeches, and essays, and once chosen, serves in her role for the next year representing the community. This year's 2015 Loveland Valentine is Ellen Colpitts.
Members, real quick, Miss Colpitts is a senior at Thompson Valley High School, where she is an honor student, competes in cross country, track and field, and the National Honor Society. She serves the community by volunteering for canned food drives, volunteering with the Rotary Club, and is also a bell ringer for the Salvation Army. She is interested in pursuing a journalism degree in college. Members, the 54th Miss Loveland Valentine is Ellen Colpitts. Please honor me, or join me in honoring and welcoming her to the Capitol today.
Mr. Minority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And members, she is accompanied today by her parents, Ann and Bill Colpitts, and then the official Miss Valentine chaperones. They've been down here for several years, Chester and Norma Jean Goodhart. And then also the Loveland Reporter Herald is sent a representative, Jessica Benz, as well. So welcome them as well. Thank you.
Representative Williams.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, today we have visitors from the Interfaith Alliance of Colorado. To my left here, the Interfaith Alliance of Colorado supports and protects religious freedom and liberty through building relationships between people of diverse religions and thorough advocating for the rights of and equality for people. They currently have 1,400 members and 50 congregations. Please join me in welcoming our guests today.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, and I want to invite everybody to tomorrow morning at 7:15 down in 109. for a little Bible study on 2 Timothy. We'll be studying Do Not Be Ashamed of the Gospel of Jesus Christ, and we'd sure like for you to be there. There'll be breakfast there. Thank you.
Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee, don't forget we are moving our room today to room 271. We will be having some remote testimony opportunities. We'll be hearing House Bill 1040, House Bill 1099, House Bill 1139, and House Bill 1130. See you in room 271 at 1:30.
Representative Young.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of Appropriations, I mentioned this at our Appropriations meeting last Friday morning, but want to remind you we have Appropriations tomorrow morning, LSBA, at 7:30. Early. Yes, Representative Wilson. The bills that we'll be covering are outlined in the yellow supplemental books. 28 out of 29 will have the other one later on, but come prepared to move quickly. Thank you.
Representative Buckner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Education Committee, we've been moved again from room 112 to room 107. Please note the room change.
Representative Escar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, we just wanted to come up here as part of your LGBT caucus and let you know that today is LGBT Lobby Day, so you may be getting some cards from your constituents to step out and talk to them about issues that are important to them.
Representative Rosenthal.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And so we had a wonderful a burrito breakfast with them this morning at the Presbyterian Church, and all of you are all welcome to come to their event next year. This is LGBT rights are not a partisan issue, and so hopefully everybody is always welcome to interact with the LGBT community and One Colorado.
Representative Moreno. Oh, okay. Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members of the Ag Committee, listen up. Today and today only, we're going to be meeting in room HCR 0012. 012, and we're going to be hearing 3 bills today. House Bill 1129, Senate Bill 21, and House Bill 1166. So we'll be in a different room today. Room 112, down in the basement. Thank you.
Are there further announcements and introductions? The Speaker has an appointment at the recommendation of the Minority Leader. I will appoint Representative Buck to replace Representative Szabo on the Legislative Council Committee. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move the appointment to the Legislative Council Committee be confirmed.
Members, pursuant to 2-3-301 Colorado Revised Statutes, appointments to the Legislative Council Committee require a recorded vote. The motion is to appoint Representative Buck to replace Representative Szabo on the Legislative Council Committee. Members, please take your seats. And Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Have all the members voted? Close the machine with 65 ayes, no noes. The motion to replace Representative Buck to replace Representative Szabo with Representative Buck on the Legislative Council Committee is passed. The next order of business is second reading of bills, general orders. Representative Fields. You have heard the motion. I see no objections. Representative Fields will take the chair.
Will come to order.
Of course they will.
With your unanimous consent, the bills will be read by title unless there is a request for reading a bill at length. Committee amendments will not be read unless requested, as they are printed and in your bill folders. Floor amendments will be shown on the screen and not read unless requested. Bills will be laid over upon motion of the majority leader. The court rule is relaxed.
When do I ask for that? First on this? First. Yeah, just you ask
Ms. Kohler?
You ask for it all the way through.
Ready?
All right. House Bill 1038 by Representative Arndt, also Senator Hodge, concerning flexible water markets.
Representative Arndt.
Madam Chair, I move House Bill 1038 and the Agriculture, Livestock, and Natural Resource Committee report, and I ask for a vote in the affirmative.
To the committee report.
That we had an amendment. Just say the committee report accepted the amendment. In the committee report, they accepted amendment L001 and the bill.
Is there further discussion on the committee report? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1038 committee report. Those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. The committee report passes.
Now what? Now what?
To the bill.
Amendment or the bill?
Discuss the bill and say I have an amendment.
Colleagues, the House Bill 1038 is a flexible use of water markets and encourages alternatives to the buy and dry of agricultural lands, giving owners of agricultural water rights the opportunity to quantify water rights in court. And I believe it's an integral part of a solution to become more flexible in the way we use water in Colorado. I move, no. Oh. And I have one amendment to introduce.
Okay. The amendment needs to be properly displayed. You have to move your amendment.
I move amendment L005.
The amendment is properly displayed. Please tell us about the amendment.
This amendment was crafted carefully with all stakeholders on board and has been approved by a broad audience. What it does is it reduces the bill to read only 10 flex change in use decrees per water division at any one time over a 10-year period. And it also reduces the 10 substitute water supply plans for application of flex use in any 10-year period. It also allows for an annual report to the Water Resources Review Committee on the effectiveness of the flex water right. And I ask for an affirmative vote on L005.
Is there further discussion on this amendment? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we did hear this this bill in the Ag Committee, and we've got some problems with it. But as far as L005, this amendment, this floor amendment on second readings, does make the bill better, and so I would urge an aye vote on L005.
Is there further discussion? Representative McCorm. Representative McCorm.
Thank you. I would move L006 as a substitute. Ask it to be displayed.
L006 has been properly displayed. Please explain your amendment.
Thank you, members. You know, in committee and
We talked about how this is a great bill for the plat, but we also heard from constituents. We heard from the Colorado River District that they are not in support of this bill. So what this would do would say the project is limited to Division 1 of the water districts.
Is there further discussion on this amendment? Representative Arndt.
Madam Chair, thank you, Representative. I would like to say that we saw this amendment proposed in the committee, and it was defeated in committee, and I urge your no vote on L006.
Is there further discussion on this amendment? Representative Del Grosso.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative Arndt, I guess if there was only one division that came there and actually supported it, one division that wanted it, the rest of them were opposed to it, why would you say we should still mandate it on all the rest of the divisions and not just the one division that actually is pushing for this bill?
Representative Arndt.
Madam Chair, I believe we have broader support than just in Division 1. Thank you. This was defeated in committee.
Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would actually like to correct Representative Arndt. The drafter introduced this amendment in the wrong section of the bill, and so it was determined that it was a settled question, but the drafter redrafted this and said this is where she should have put the bill, and she apologized for that mistake. So this amendment was never voted on.
Representative Singh.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I'd also urge a no vote on this amendment. Water doesn't just flow within Division 1. This is needed across the board in all divisions. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on this amendment? Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I support the amendment. I represent the Colorado River District, and they are opposed to the bill in general, so this amendment would support that, recommendation on part of the major district that would be affected, one of the major districts that would be affected.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I also would support this amendment because there is a division among the state on where it is supported. And the western slope, the Colorado River Water Conservation District does not support this or does not support the bill. And this amendment would take that opposition away.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm having a difficult time determining how, under the rules, this substitute amendment is germane to the original amendment, and so I would like to have some clarification to that issue. It seems like the initial amendment addressed many other issues, and so Representative Quorum, it does not appear that this is in compliance with the rules and is not germane.
Is Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. We're just limiting the use of this, defining it to one district. Nothing else would change.
Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd ask for a ruling that this is not germane to the underlying amendment.
Committee will stand in a brief recess. the committee will come back to order, the chair rules that L006 is not germane under rule number 28. Back to amendment L005. Further discussion.
Still on the floor. Members, we're back to L005, and the amendment's been moved. I would like to just reiterate the broad support that we had, including the Colorado River District, in full support of L005, in addition to other water users, Conservation Colorado, Ducks Unlimited, Northern Central, Pikes Peak Water. We have broad support for this amendment, and I urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and we did hear this was an amendment that I actually moved in committee. It makes the bill better. It's still not a good bill, and I'll still vote against it, but it's a better bill than it was because it limits its what it will do, and so I would urge that we vote in favor of L005 because it does make it a better bill, and it makes it one that we can at least get along with. So for those reasons, I would hope that we would vote in favor of L005.
Is there further discussion on the amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L005. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. The amendment passes.
Thank you, members. I encourage an aye vote on House Bill 1038.
Is there further discussion? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And we did hear this in the Ag Committee, and you know, throughout the state there are different areas. Some think that the bill is something that we should pass, others don't. The Colorado Water Conservation District is very strongly opposed to this bill. There's just a lot of questions that are out there that haven't been answered. Will it get in the way of water storage? Is this a knee-jerk reaction? And I know that this bill has been before the House several times in the past. But the main thing that we need to think about here is the way water law works right now is if you want to change the use, then you go to water court and you prove that it's not going to damage any other property rights, water rights. What this bill does is it does away with that process and bypasses the water courts, and then it will force legitimate water rights owners to go to water court if they feel like that their water rights have been devalued. And so it's very, this is a bill that, you know, I think needs more time. I think that the amendment that was advanced a minute ago by Representative Corum would help to remedy this because it's the western slope and western Colorado that opposes this bill. So I would urge a nay vote on this bill.
Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, this bill's been debated. It's been amended a lot. It's not even close to what the bill was when we began. And the sponsor has really worked hard to make sure that this bill has broad support. And I think it's a great bill. Not perfect bill like any bill, but it's a bill that will make Colorado better. And so with that, I ask for an aye vote. This is a bill that's going to help out rural Colorado and those streams out there that need help. So I'd ask for an aye vote.
Representative Singh.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I'm confused because I'm not sure we're addressing the same bill here. This does not go around water courts. I don't see anywhere in here this goes around water court. This is designed to help with the buy and dry problem that we're having, and it guarantees it's going to stay within agriculture use if not used for the flex purpose. So I wholeheartedly support this bill because we do have a lot of buy and dry going up in Weld County. So I do urge your support of this bill. Thank you.
Is there further discussion? Representative Quorum.
Thank you, Madam Chair. You know, we all talk about buy and dry, but I'm going to tell you, lease and cease has the same problem, because what we're doing here is we're changing water rights. We're changing it where today, if you want to change your water use to beneficial use, you go to court and describe that use. What this does is gives it a flexible use, so you don't have to go back to court. Now, what is the benefit to that? It raises your water values. So, members, welcome to the land of unintended consequences, because you do not want buy and dry. Everybody says that. But what you're going to do with this bill is you're going to escalate the value of water rights so high that a farmer says, you know what? I'm going to Florida. I'm going to take vacation. I'm not farming anymore. So the unintended consequences here are they're going to slap you in the face, I guarantee you. If you want to slap your district in the face, that's okay. My districts on Western Colorado are certainly not in favor of that. And I would move L009 and ask that it be displayed.
L009 is properly displayed. Please proceed.
Thank you, members. This settles the question of it's not germane that we just went through. We just went through this with the drafter. And so this says, okay, you can do it in Division 1. You can do 10 projects. Ask for a yes vote.
Is there further? Representative Arndt.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I believe this may be a subtle question since we passed L005.
The chair will hold a brief recess to review. Committee is called back to order. Representative Corm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I would ask to withdraw L009 and move L010. That's going to be displayed.
The amendment is properly displayed before us. Please proceed.
Thank you. I think this clarifies everything that we've been talking about. It's been a great fun time here to talk about this bill and help Representative Arndt through her hazing process here, perhaps. But what the bill does, if you look at page 3, line 23, insert flex use is limited to Water Division 1. And then it also states that no more than 10 flex changes in Division 1. Ask for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion? Representative Arndt.
Madam Chair, I do have further discussion, and this is a very good first bill for me as a freshman. I understand that, and I thank you for your hazing. And I'm happy to stand tall and proud defending the Flex Market bill because it is in the Colorado Water Plan that we need to use our water more flexibly in Colorado. This is a good idea. It's a good deal for Colorado. I urge your no vote on. We're on our 10th Amendment here. Limiting it to only Division 1 would exclude other water users who are in favor of this bill. And I understand that Colorado Water District's not on board, but a lot of other people are. We have broad support. And I urge your aye vote. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on this amendment?
Oh, I urge your no vote on this amendment, L0010, or L010.
Is there further discussion on this amendment? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I guess I would just ask Representative Arndt if I think you represent District 1, and I think that this would be a good amendment, and that possibly we could get this bill passed and see how the flex works, and then maybe pass it later to the other districts. But for now, I think this is a good amendment, and I would urge an aye vote on this amendment.
Is Representative Corm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm going to tell you why I support this bill. When we talked in committee the other day, we had Joanne Groff with the Taxation Division. And the question that I went to the outside and asked her, when we do these things and we change that use to example to fallowing, what does that do to the local tax base? She said, well, what would happen, the value of the land would go from irrigated land to dry land, which is considerably less value. Now, what happens when you have considerably less value on an assessment? The schools get less money. The fire districts get less money. Members, this is a prime example of unintended consequences. We're talking each and every day. We need more money into education. Members, this is going to do just the opposite. It has ramifications that we may not like. When you change the value of land, you change the assessed value, you're putting a big hit on those counties. You're putting a big hit on the school district. So I realize that Division 1 is doing very well economically. My part of the state is not. We're hoping for a recession because right now we have a depression. So let's talk about this. I understand Division 1 can afford it. Frankly, the rest of us can't. So I'm asking for your support on this amendment. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on Representative Singh?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members also urge a no vote on this amendment. I would probably be inclined to accept this hazing amendment if a large flow of toilets were included, because we'd like to have the flex use of flushing once, twice, or 3 times. But since that is not the case, the world will not end with this bill. And what may be adjusted slightly is the fact that maybe some water attorneys won't be working as often if this bill passes. But it's certainly going to help our smaller farmers out in reducing transaction costs, which should reduce water costs. So I do urge a no vote on this amendment for the same reason as given before. Water does flow past District 1 into other districts. Thank you.
Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I urge a no vote. L005 was the compromise amendment, so this goes way beyond the compromise, and it makes it a different intent. So with that, I urge a no vote on L0010.
Representative Corm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Once again, let's change the phrasing from by and dry to lease and cease, because the results are the same. This is a bad situation for rural Colorado, especially western Colorado. Colorado River District came out in opposition to this bill. You know, let's don't bully our way through this. Let's try to work something that works for the entire state.
The amendment.
If you want it, this is a great amendment.
That's good. That's real good.
Would you mind repeating that, Madam Chair?
Continue, please proceed.
Thank you. Once again, this amendment accomplishes everything that we need to do to make this a better bill. Wouldn't you agree, Madam Chair?
Please proceed. Do we have further discussion on this amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L010. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those who oppose say no. No. The amendment is lost. To the bill.
Thanks. Not to delay things further, I urge a strong yes vote on House Bill 15-1038. Thank you.
Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And not attempting to delay anything, we actually want to have this discussion beyond just districts and divisions. So I offer Amendment L007 and ask to be displayed.
Could you please move your amendment?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move L007.
Okay, the amendment is moved and properly displayed. Please proceed.
Everybody's going to scramble and read this. In essence, what this does is, well, the heart of this legislation is to allow a farmer who is maybe a senior right holder and downstream to negotiate a flex agreement with all likelihood a metropolitan area water district or some kind of activity in the metropolitan area. But what it fails to take into account is the third parties. And that's so you have A to B, but you forget C. And C is the water right holder who may be upstream or downstream, depending where the water is being taken out, transferred, and ultimately reused in some fashion. So what this amendment would do is, while you are allowed to have the flex program start off, if you start significantly changing the use, where it's coming back in different points and affecting an upstream or downstream water right holder, you would have to then go back and make sure the approval happens with the substitute water supply plan or the water court. And this is really just protecting water right holders who are not part of the flex agreement, but are in between the 2 points of where the transfer is happening and where the water is being acquired, and then at some point it's being re-ejected back into the system. Now, some will say this amendment strikes at the heart of the legislation, but what it does is it actually protects water right holders who are not part of the agreement, who are not part of the negotiations. And our failure to forget that C exists, this is between A and B, but C gets affected, is an unintended consequence, and this amendment would help cure while still, I believe, keeping the heart of the legislation, allowing a flex program to go, but with significant changes happen, make sure C, the person not part of the negotiated agreement, is still protected. I ask for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion? Representative Arndt.
I urge a no vote on L007. Thank you.
Is there further Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And colleagues, the big problem with this bill is that it will force legitimate water rights owners to go to water court. This amendment is a good amendment because it takes that problem out of the bill. This would really help this bill. I urge a yes vote on this amendment.
Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And really the question, and it's one that was somewhat talked about in committee, but never really got to an answer, and thus the reason of this amendment, is that what about C? If A and B are coming up to an agreement, what about C? Because they are not part of this process. How are we assuring that C is protected? And when I say C, it's that water right holder who may be junior, or excuse me, maybe upstream or downstream, depending on what is going on with the flex options, but they're going to be affected potentially in some way. And I don't want to see them injured because we here, the legislative body, forgot about them in this process.
Representative Becker?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I urge a no vote on this amendment. It basically negates the entire purpose of the bill. This bill is intended to keep water from drying up on ag and going to municipal use by providing irrigators more flexibility in their use. This bill ultimately undoes the very purpose of this. This amendment ultimately undoes the very purpose of the bill.
Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Well, Representative Becker, with all due respect, the question I would ask would be, how are we protecting the parties not involved with this agreement? It's the upstream or downstream holder that when water usage is changed dramatically or is recharged in some fashion that is different than it was maybe 2 or 3 years after the agreement was made, how are we assuring that they are being protected? Because our job down here is to make sure that all of Colorado, all the Colorado holders of water rights are protected. And I think we fail to do so unless you have an amendment like this, and I would ask for a yes vote.
Representative Singh. Representative Art? Representative Singh.
Thank you. Just real briefly, members, I appreciate the forgotten man arguments. It's a great economic argument. However, in shouty capitals on page 5, line 8, it says a decreed flex use is subject to reconsideration by a water judge on the question of injury to vested water rights of others for such a period after the entry of the decree as is necessary or desirable to remedy or preclude injury. If that wasn't in there, I would not support this bill. But that is in there. So if folks think they're being injured, they do have recourse to say, I might be injured. So I do recommend a no vote on this as well.
Representative Becker.
Not sure. Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, what's being talked about up here is true. In this bill, and what Representative Singh just told you is true. But what happens is it changes the burden of who has to go to court. Once you go to court once for this flex use, you don't have to go to court again. So the injured parties then have to take you to court in order to go after their injury or prove their injury, which changes how we initially do it. So I would urge a yes vote on this amendment.
Representative Dorr.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And Representative Becker, Jay, was right. The issue here is really about this third party who was not part of the agreement. Now, while there is protections or so-called protections in the language of the current bill, it requires the burden switch, as was mentioned. And that's not just going to court, raising your hand and saying, hey, I've got an issue. Some of the agreement that happened in a flex program is affecting my water usage. It requires money, hiring of lawyers, getting involved in a way that is dollars out of pockets of farmers who we've already all know in this chamber, already suffering in many cases. And this would just be a financial burden on them as well, especially farther downstream, which is the parts of rural Colorado that we continue to have discussion about. I'd ask for a yes vote on this amendment.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I recommend a yes vote on this amendment. It moves some of the concerns that my water district, the Colorado River Water District, had a little bit closer. I'm not sure it's going to get total support, but the real issue in these is the injured party. While this bill would benefit the person who gets the permit for flex use, it does raise concerns. And when you go to court to try to show harm, it's pretty easy if the change is to a specific beneficial use. The problem that we have with this bill is that flex use entails a lot of possible beneficial uses of the water. So you've got to prove damage from a lot of different situations or cases. This does narrow that a little bit and helps with those concerns. You know, in general, we in the West support flex use. We need to fix some of these problems. But at the same time, we're very much afraid of increasing the burden on going to water court. That's always an issue. And this amendment will help us move toward supporting the bill.
Is there further, Representative Corm?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I urge the yes vote on this amendment. I think it does put some side rails on. It protects that small farm and ranch operation that, frankly, they don't know if they're going to have enough money at the end of the year to farm next year. And if they are damaged, they certainly don't have the resources to bring it to water court. So I think this is a common sense amendment that puts side rails on and gives some protections to those who can least afford water court. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on this amendment? Representative Brown.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And this is a good amendment. It's an amendment that will satisfy the problems that we have with the bill. And, you know, I quite frankly don't understand why the proponents of the bill don't like this amendment, because it is a way to protect our water rights and also get to the flex issue that we were talking about. So this is a good amendment, and it would allow me to vote for the bill. So I would urge you, I vote for this amendment. Thank you.
Is there further discussion on this amendment? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of L007. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. The amendment is lost. To the bill.
Colleagues, I vote for a yes. I request a yes vote on House Bill 1038. Thank you.
Representative Corm. Representative Corm.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, you just saw a prime example of wasting water. Did you see what the chairman did? This is a bad bill. Vote no.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1038? Representative Becker.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And members, I understand why they're bringing forward this bill. We obviously don't want to see by and dry, especially in my neck of the woods. We don't want to see by and dry. I like this bill better when they didn't limit it to 10 projects. Think about it. If we limit this to 10 projects, just 10, so 10 people get to do this, which initially is going to raise the cost or the price of their water while maybe reducing the price of somebody else's water. That has to be done for 10 years, according to this bill now. I liked it better when they allowed everybody to jump in and do it if it was going to be done. So I would urge a no vote on this bill.
Is there further Representative Singh.
Thank you, members. I don't know how many of you are Firefly or Serenity fans, but it reminds me of that quote where on one hand, you'll be the martyr, and the other hand, you're the brigand. And so the 10 projects was put in there because people were saying, oh my gosh, the world's going to blow up if we have everybody trying to do this. So the 10 were put in there so it would limit the bill to more of a pilot project style bill so we can see how this works, and it will lower the cost of water and make sure that is a reality for Colorado. Thank you. Oh yeah, vote yes on the bill.
Representative Rankin.
Thank you, Madam Chair. As I said, I wanted to support this bill. I like the concept. We need to solve some problems. I cannot, because we now are opening a situation where everybody up and down the affected stream has to analyze potential damage in a whole bunch of categories, and instead of narrowing it down, it's fine for the person who gets the ability to do this. It opens up a level of injury, and I will not support it, and my district will not support it.
Representative Vigil.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1038 has been a compromise bill. It's worked with a lot of folks, and I think it came to the point where it's a good bill for most people. And with that, I'll ask for a yes vote. It's a bill that's going to help out rural Colorado with the buy and dry.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1038? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1038. All those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. No. House Bill 1038 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1078.
House Bill 1078 by Representatives Nordberg and McCann concerning immediate reporting of missing children who are in the custody of a state agency to law enforcement for inclusion in national crime databases.
Nordberg, please. Representative Nordberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1078 and the Public Health Care and Human Services Committee report.
To the committee report.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, we just did 2 clarifying amendments in committee, and I'd ask for a yes vote.
Those in favor say aye. All those opposed, no. The committee report passes. To the bill. Representative Nordberg.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, House Bill 1078 requires that when a child goes missing who's in the custody of the State Department of Human Services or County Department of Human Services, that those children be reported missing immediately and no later than 24 hours to law enforcement, the FBI NCIC database, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. We found that when these kids do go missing, that time is of the essence. There's certainly a vulnerable community, and time matters. So we would just ask for your support and a yes vote on this bill. Thank you.
Representative McCann.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I would also ask for a yes vote on this bill. It's an important bill to help keep track of young people who may become vulnerable to those who are seeking to put them into service in the human trafficking field. The statistics show that a large percentage of those who are in trafficking have spent some time in foster care. So we expect this bill will help keep kids from getting into that dark underworld that still exists, unfortunately, in our cities and counties.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1078? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1078. Those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. House Bill 1078 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1082.
House Bill 1082 by Representative Milton concerning a limitation on when disciplinary action may be commenced against a mental health professional.
Representative Prima Villar.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 15-1082 by Representative Melton back to the Committee on Public Health and Human Services.
Representative Melton.
Thank you, Madam Chair, and I ask for your support in this move. This bill had a few little tweaks that needed to be worked out in committee. Unfortunately, those weren't done, so we need to rework this bill a little bit back in committee.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1082? Seeing none, then the question before us is to move this bill back to committee.
As long as it's not on a Friday.
Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. Okay, then this bill will go back to committee. Mr. Kohler, please read Senate Bill 10.
Senate Bill 10 by Senator Hodge, also Representative Mitch Bush, concerning augmentation requirements for wells withdrawing water from the Dawson Aquifer.
Representative Bush.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Chair. Good morning, members. I move Senate Bill 10.
Thank you. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Senate Bill 10 is a Water Resources Review Committee. It aims to get rid of a problem in statute. That problem in statute was created because on July 2015, there is due a report using a model and data that were never created. This model was never created for modeling that aquifer, and therefore the data were never created. It's a very complex aquifer. The model would cost a great deal of money, and those in the aquifer are using other means, including, of course, full augmentation water supply plans. I'd ask for a yes vote.
Is there further discussion on Senate Bill 10? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of Senate Bill 10. All those in favor say aye. All those opposed say no. Senate Bill 10 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title for House Bill 1117.
House Bill 1117 by Representative Windholz, also Senator Guzman, concerning the clarification of the application of the Uniform Electronic Transactions Act to the conduct of internal affairs of domestic entities.
Representative Windholz.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1117.
To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. House Bill 1117. Some of Colorado's corporate statutes were written before the use of the email, the internet, and social media became prevalent. For the definition of the Colorado Corporation Associations Act, 1117 clarifies the signature or signed and includes electronic signature and written or writing to include electronic records. It is supported by the Colorado Bar Association, the Colorado Nonprofit Association, the American Physical Therapy Association, and others. It passed out of the House Business Affairs and Labor Committee unanimously. I move a yes vote on 1117.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1117? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1117. Those in favor say aye. Aye. All those opposed say no. House Bill 1117 passes. Mr. Kohler, please read the title of House Bill 1069.
House Bill 1069 by Representative Wright and also Senator Holbert, concerning information required to be included in recorded written instruments filed with the county clerk and recorder to claim a homestead exemption.
Representative Wright.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move House Bill 1069.
Thank you, Representative Wright. To the bill.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Members, House Bill 1069 is basically a little cleanup bill. What it does is changes the form for someone claiming a homestead exemption. And what it does is add the owner's name to the property description. And the reason for this is so that it will be less likely to make a mistake on looking up a property by folks like the title insurance companies and people like that, mortgage companies, wanting to make sure that they have the correct property. I urge and I vote.
Is there further discussion on House Bill 1069? Seeing none, the question before us is the adoption of House Bill 1069. Those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. House Bill 1069 passes. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move the committee rise and report.
Seeing no objection, the committee will rise and report.
The House will come back to order. Mr. Kohler, please read the report of the Committee of the Whole.
Madam Speaker, Committee of the Whole begs leave to report in consideration of the following attached bills being second reading thereof and makes the following recommendations thereon. House Bills 1038 amended, 1069, 1078 amended, 1117 passed on second reading in order of gross, placed on calendar for third and final passage. Senate Bill 10 passed on second reading in order revised to place on calendar for third and final passage. House Bill 1082 re-referred to the Committee on Public Health Care and Human Services.
Madam Majority Leader. Oh, Representative Fields. You have heard the motion and there are no amendments. The question before the House is the adoption of the report of the Committee of the Whole. Mr. Kohler, please open the machine and members proceed to vote. Close the machine. With 65 ayes, no noes, the Committee of the Whole report is adopted. Madam Majority Leader. Oh, well, we'll have announcements and introductions first. Representative Ryden.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, members of the State Veterans and Military Affairs Committee, and anyone who happens to be watching in TV land, and anyone who is interested in House Bill 1130. We are laying that over. We will not be hearing it today. Thank you.
Representative Esgar.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, I'd like to take a quick moment to welcome some students from Pueblo who came out today for LGBT Lobby Day. They've joined us over here. So if everybody can give them a warm welcome.
Representative Jay Beckner.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. And everybody, I just wanted to remind you to support your rural electric associations tonight, 5:30 at the Marriott.
Any other announcements or introductions? Representative Moreno and Representative Norberg.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Members, tonight is the first night of the bipartisan House and Senate Israel Caucus. We're going to kick things off at the Denver Museum of Natural History? Nature and Science, sorry, my apologies. At the IMAX, where we have a 5 o'clock showing of the film on Jerusalem. So please be there if you can at 4:45. Let us know. And then that will be followed by dinner at Vine Street Pub at 6:30. So let us know if you have any questions. Hope to see you tonight.
Representative Moreno.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. That movie is in 3D. You don't want to miss it. So hope to see you tonight.
Yeah.
Woo. Now, Madam Majority Leader, let's get out of here.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow, February 10th.
The motion is to lay over the balance of the calendar until tomorrow. See no objection, so ruled. Madam Majority Leader.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. I move that the House stand in recess until later today, February 9th at 1 p.m.
The motion is to stand in recess until 1 p.m. this afternoon. Seeing no objection, so ordered.